Guys, howdy. Welcome to the channel. Bitcoin with Dinny here. I want to tell you a couple of things. One of the most important things I'm going to be telling you about today is my free Retire Early on Bitcoin event that's on this Wednesday at 7 p.m. All you got to do is go onto my website, bitcoinwithdinny.com, get my 5 things to know before you buy Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, and that gets you onto my email list where I'll be emailing out the invite link to that live Zoom, webinar, workshop, call it what you will, but I'll be live at 7 p.m. this Wednesday, and I'll be giving you a full lowdown to explain Bitcoin and how you can use it to retire early, and I'll also take any questions that you have from the live audience. The last time we done this, the Zoom filled out to max capacity. I've space for 500, so it's the first 500 people that are there. Get your link, get yourself into the waiting room good and early, 10 minutes before 7 p.m. on Wednesday, and I look forward to seeing you on the seminar. And send this with any friends, family, people who you care about, who want to understand Bitcoin so that they don't have to get scammed, so they don't have to miss out, so they don't have to let central banks just continue to print money and devalue their savings and increase the cost of living and then blame somebody else. Okay, we actually teach the most important thing to learn in your life is how money works, because every decision we make in our life, money dictates it, money influences it. And a lot of the things we have to do is we have to exchange our time doing things that we don't really want to do just so we can get this bloody money thing. And for me, the first half of my life, I never studied money, although it dictated all my decisions, and life was really difficult. I lived in a mobile home. And by understanding money, you can understand how the game works and you can understand how to get ahead. So, I'm looking forward to that on Wednesday, and as I say, jump on my website, bitcoinwithdinny.com, and just get my 5 things to know. Just got my car back. Oh yeah, she's pulling all right. Got a new radiator. Hopefully she's going well. So I want to give you some facts on Bitcoin, okay? Because I believe the biggest event since Bitcoin's creation happened last month. Well, it's still this month. It happened earlier this month, which was the launch of a Bitcoin spot ETF. Now, in 10 years' time, people are going to look back at this event and they're going to say, like, how come no one's seen it? So everyone says, like, oh, those people got lucky. They bought Bitcoin 10 years ago. It must have been so easy for them. I wish I got lucky. And yet here we are today in the year 2024 when Bitcoin is 1,000 times less risky an investment. People have all the information. If they're prepared to do the work and do the study, you have all the information. It's all there. Nothing else has to change. Okay, you get the information, you understand what's really happening here. Most people don't, because they just read newspaper headlines or they talk to their friends, and their friends have done zero work. And like, I have debates with some people on my network, and the people who are listening to the debate are like taking both sides. But I'm like, I've spent the last 5 years of my life studying this thing 4 hours a day, and the person I'm debating has watched a couple of conspiracy theorist videos and has done zero work, hasn't even read a single book on the subject of money or investing or Bitcoin or wealth creation. So you have to be cautious of who you take your information from. Unfortunately, everything with Bitcoin, mainstream are pushed out all the wrong information, and that's why mainstream for 14 years now have missed out on owning the highest performing asset that anyone can get exposure to. And most mainstream don't, because they don't understand it. They don't understand how to use it. So they buy high, they sell low, or they outsource and they give their money to some scammer to trade Bitcoin, to mine Bitcoin, to whatever. Okay, I deal with this every single week, people who get scammed. Or they just dismiss Bitcoin and say, oh, that's nothing but a Ponzi scheme, it's backed by nothing. And the irony there, of course, is that the euro is a Ponzi scheme, the dollar is a Ponzi scheme. They are actual legitimate Ponzi schemes, and that is why the cost of your milk, your bread, your eggs, and everything else that you want to purchase, like a house or a car, why they only get more expensive over time. That's the definition of a Ponzi scheme. It requires more currency creation and therefore dilutes everything that sits within it. And also, while I'm on the rant, your euro's backed by nothing. Nothing! There's nothing behind it, okay? Only the fact that you trust it. I don't trust it. That's why I don't own many euros, because it's backed by nothing. Bitcoin is similar to gold. It's backed by energy. And I can do a present on Wednesday. I'll be explaining to you what actually backs Bitcoin, so you really understand it, and you don't have to be one of these clueless people who's continuing to miss out and destroy the opportunity to create enormous wealth for their family in the future, because we have all the information now. So if you're one of these people who says, oh, I missed Bitcoin, I coulda, woulda, shoulda, well, I promise you, in 10 years time, you're going to feel like an absolute fool, because you missed Bitcoin twice, except the second time it was fully de-risked. Anyway, I digress. So one interesting statistic on Bitcoin, I just want to give you a little value in this video. And as always, all we ask for you to do here is hit the like button. It helps the algorithm. Get this video, copy the link, share it with friends and family. Let them start to learn actually about Bitcoin. You see, with Bitcoin, we call it proof of work. You've got to do the work. It takes work. It takes your time, okay, to learn about this thing, to understand this thing. But guess what it does? All right, we have clients who've done the work 4 years ago and now are retired. You know, I shared some of them. Some people only work half a year now. They don't work in winter because, to quote one of the lads, I took Dinny's advice and now I no longer work in winter. But he'd done it 3 years ago, okay? And that's the beauty, that those who can start today, if you never start, you'll never get anywhere, okay? But start today. So when it comes to Bitcoin, people say, oh, Bitcoin's new and I don't trust Bitcoin, okay? In fact, one of the large asset managers in the world, is it Vanguard? Okay, they said, because Bitcoin is new and untrustworthy, we're not going to let our clients access it. Okay, and that's fine. And there's your newspaper clickbait headline. And most people, that's as far as they get to go because they're so busy in the rat race, so busy just trying to keep their head above water. They don't have time to do due diligence and actually dig into things. Okay? However, the Bitcoiners do. We have time, okay? Because we're able to store our time in something that doesn't get diluted. So therefore, we get to work on things we're passionate about, and we get to work on things we want to. But if you dig into that, because Bitcoin is a 24/7 market, it doesn't close, okay? The stock market per year trades 2,000 hours per year, approximately, okay? 2,000 hours per year, all right? But Bitcoin is a 24/7 market. So this new asset, quote, quote, all right, that this is what's happening versus what happens behind the scenes. Because I'm an insider, I get to see what's really happening, and you guys don't really get to see that, but I try and convey the information to you so you're able to make better decisions. But because Bitcoin trades 24/7, okay, Bitcoin's 15 years of history is equivalent to it having 60 years of data, because it's a 24/7 market. All right, Bitcoin trades for 8,000 hours per year. Remember, the stock market trades for 2,000. So Bitcoin actually has more data, it has more trading hours than all the stock markets. And that's the irony. That's what, you know, when you're just getting the noise and you're just getting the propaganda, when you actually look behind the scenes and see what's really going on, there's much more data on Bitcoin than on Tesla stocks or all these stock indices, Google, Amazon, that people trust and think, oh yeah, sure, that's around 20 years. I know the crack with that. Well, Bitcoin's been trading, okay, the equivalent of 60 years. Amazon didn't exist 60 years ago. So that's the data. That's what's actually happening on Bitcoin. And this is what you have to pay attention to. And this is why you like these videos and subscribe to this channel, because I'm going to give it to you straight. I'm not going to give you the propaganda. I'm not going to try and keep you out of this thing. I'm going to just try and get you to study Bitcoin, is what I say to people. Obviously, if you want to accelerate your learning, or you want me to set everything up for you, check out the Retire Early Club. Check out my consulting where I build everything for you. I do all the technical stuff, so you don't have to wait. You don't have to waste 2, 3 years, 5 years of your own money and your own mistakes to try and figure out how to do all this. So I've done all that. And that's the beauty of investing. Investing into education is just as valuable, if not more valuable, than actually investing into assets. That's how I got to retire early, was through investing into education, not assets. You are the asset. Understand that. Okay? So that is what you have to focus on. And one of the other counter arguments to Bitcoin, again, said by Vanguard, but Bitcoin has no cash flow. Okay, and it's a valid argument. You'd be like, okay, there's no dividends paid on Bitcoin. All right, yeah, okay. However, for the last 10 years, Bitcoin has averaged 50% compounded annual growth. 50%. You don't need cash flows when you're holding something that's appreciating on average at 50% a year. Like, you do not need cash flow. The thing is going to retire you very early if you just understand it, accumulate it, own it, and custody it correctly. All right? So don't listen to the propaganda. Do the work for yourself. Get a compound interest calculator there. Fire in 10 grand. Compound it at 50%, okay, for a decade, and have a look at the telephone numbers. Because that's what it'll produce. Now, a compound interest calculator won't define it correctly, because technically Bitcoin doesn't compound. It doesn't compound interest. It more capital appreciates. Okay, so you will be able to find a calculator, but just to get an idea of it, you don't need cash flows, people. You just need to understand this thing, understand the size of the asset, understand what's after happening with these spot ETFs, understand that the price hasn't absolutely ripped yet, And you've just got this golden opportunity, but it's a narrowing window of time. Okay, I don't know when we move, but we are moving. It's just basic maths, okay? It's just supply and demand. In the first 4 days of this thing trading, those ETFs gobbled up 50% of the supply of Bitcoin that it created in this whole year, all right? Don't try and be a genius. Don't try and overthink stuff, as Greg Foss would always say, and I'm 100% down with that. You don't need to split hairs. All my life, hair splitters get nowhere. People who just make, macro moves, big moves, the correct big moves will get you there, all right? And if you want to be a hair splitter, you can work on the last 1%. But I'm happy enough if I can make big moves and get 98% of the way there with minimum effort without being a hair splitter. There's a Dinny bomb. Don't split the hairs, okay? Just get shit done. And that's how we move forward in this. And that's all you need to do with your Bitcoin strategy. All right, it's so simple. I'd love to teach you on Wednesday. Get on the call. Get onto my website to make sure you're on the email list. I'll be sending out the invite on Wednesday for the Zoom call. And I'm going to do a whole presentation with you to teach you the facts that you need to know. The last day I done a video, I was in a BMW dealership and people were a little bit worried because I was whispering. I wasn't shouting my head off. But I was in a BMW dealership and I was sitting in a car that I didn't own, okay? So I couldn't be shouting my head off. There was loads of customers in the building. So if your understanding, okay, of this asset class is influenced by the tone of my voice, you, my friend, have work to do, okay? Because my thesis on Bitcoin has been rock solid, okay? And it hasn't changed in almost half a decade, and it's not going to change. And that's the beauty of it. So no matter what happens in the mainstream, no matter what FUD comes down the line, my thesis hasn't changed, and therefore my structure of my strategy hasn't changed. And this is the reason why we get to retire early. And this is what you've got to do. You've got to build your thesis. You've got to build your education. And then you know what to do, when to do, and how to do it, and why you're doing it, okay? So you're immune to all the nonsense, all the noise. In fact, you're able to take advantage of the nonsense and the noise. Let's see how this car is going. We do a lunch. Within the speed limit, of course. Ooh, yeah! Okay, that's the speed limit. She's pulling well. She's pulling well, lads. Oh, yes. You can never have enough power, though. Anyway, I'm going to log off here. I'm just heading to the office. I've got consulting on Zoom. I've got Zoom sessions with people. We're going to be building plans to retire early. We're going to be structuring everything. We're going to be creating wallets and all this fancy stuff. So I look forward to seeing a lot of you guys on Wednesday. Do me a favor, like the video if you haven't already. It's simple. You just take your finger like this, you approach, you tap the screen. Make sure you're following the channel as well. A lot of our subscribers don't actually follow the Bitcoin With Dinny channel. And just beware of scammers. I'll never reach out to you. If you message my page, I'll reply to you. But I'll never reach out to you with any trading opportunities or mining opportunities. I don't do any of this stuff myself. I've told you, you don't need to become an investor. Investors retire themselves early. Investors get super wealthy. Traders don't. Most traders lose all their money. It's a 99% failure rate. So I'm not going to go into a game where I'm 99% chance I'm going to lose. And I'm not going to steer my customers into that. Although there's huge opportunities. I could make loads of money by teaching you that, but I don't, okay? Because I have this thing called integrity. Guys, just a little test to see who has watched the video to the very end. If you have, and you're consuming this little bit of Dinny Rants, I appreciate that. And just stick in the comments LFG. Okay, LFG. You can put it in capital letters or you can put it in small letters, and I get to know who's got the attention span. Who has the attention span, who's able to consume stuff. Anyway, Dinny out. Thanks for being here, guys. Slán.